Hello there and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Hyrox PFT. You're now thinking, what the hell is a Hyrox PFT?
What is it?
What is it?
And basically it's a scaled back version of a full Hyrox fitness test. The PFT comprises of 6 events, all encompassing a single workout, and you start off with a 1 kilometer run, and that could be outdoors, obviously on normal ground, or on a treadmill with a 2% incline. And you then follow that up with 50 burpee broad jumps. But instead of doing it like you do at Hyrox, where you do it in a continuous sequence, if you like, moving in the same direction, and then turn around at the very end and carry on doing it all the way back, you do individual burpees over a 90 centimetre distance. So you do a burpee, jump over 90 centimetres in distance, turn round, and it's repeat that procedure over and over again. You do that 50 times. You then follow that up with 100 lunges, and again, instead of like in the main Hyrox event, they're body weight lunges, not weighted lunges, and again they're stationary, so you just do one leg lunge, stand up, change legs, do the next leg, and keep doing that for 100 lunges. You then follow that with a 1k row on a Concept 2 row machine, so exactly the same as you would do at a main Hyrox event. Then you do 30 push hand release or press up hand releases. That's not an event that's normally in Hyrox, but I think it's basically there to tax your shoulders, your core, and your arms, obviously. And then finally, you finish that all off with 100 wall balls using the same sort of weighted board that you would use in the main Hyrox event. Hyrox actually market this, the PFT, and they actually do a sort of a tour as well, a nationwide tour. So they do it in the UK, they do it abroad, etc. You can go on their website. I'll put a link in the description below. Of the page that details all of the places they're going to, and they're on a tour, so you might already have missed it. So if that's the case, you'll have to wait till it comes around again. And I've never actually done one at an event, but I've read about them and see them on Instagram, etc. And basically, the Hyrox marketing team turn up, put a load of promotional equipment out, get everything all ready and set up for you. You then do the PFT itself en masse, but you have to register beforehand to be able to do it. And once you finish, they then give you, or they used to give you, they used to give you a little badge that was basically bronze, silver, or gold, I believe, depending on what sort of time you actually did it in. And it doesn't look like they use those badges anymore. According to the website, anyway, it doesn't even talk about it anymore or anything like that. It doesn't even talk about bronze, silver, and gold. It does, however, give you a sort of recommendation, if you like, of what category of Hyrox you should go in, depending on how long it took you to finish the PFT. Whether I think it's, if you do it in less than 25 minutes, I believe they recommend you go for pro category. I think it was 25 to 30 minutes was open, and anything above that, or no, sorry, 25 to 35 I think was open, and I think 35 minutes upwards they recommend you do it as a double pair. I don't think the PFT actually costs anything to do. I think you just put your name down for it and do it. I think it's all like a marketing ploy for Hyrox himself. But obviously, you don't have to pay to go and do it. The workouts are all laid down, so if you want, like me, and you can't get to a PFT because they've already been in this area, I believe, and finished and are further up north in the country now, in the UK, you can obviously just do the workout yourself and see what sort of time you do.
Bellino, mates.
Too right, you.
Obviously, as long as you've got the equipment, the space, and the time to be able to do a PFT, you can just do it yourself without anyone else being involved. So that's just what I decided to do this weekend. So I arranged to do it at my local CrossFit gym. It's only just up the road, so they've got all the equipment available. So I thought I'd go up there and hammer out the whole PFT and give myself a critique on it for entertainment's value and for you guys to see what's actually involved in the PFT itself. In order to satisfy the 1 kilometer run, I'd already planned out on Strava, using their route creation facility, a 500 meter run from the entrance to the gym out, and then obviously I turn around and come back, and that gives me my 1 kilometer run. I could have used the assault run in the gym, but I wanted to sort of do it as similar as I could to a real Hyrox event. And also, if they do a Hyrox PFT in a gym, they don't actually get you to do it on assault runs, they get you to do it as a run outdoors. So I wanted to simulate the same sort of feeling as I would if I'd have done it properly like that. So enough chit chat here, let's go to the gym and do the PFT. Okay, so the run commentary starting here. So our gym, CrossFit Pi, is actually on a small business park. So I'd used Strava in advance to create a route planning tool to plan an exact 500 metre route out and then back to give me the 1 kilometre distance I needed. Ran out of the park, across the road and down a country lane, as I thought it'd be nice and quiet with no road traffic.
Pardon?
So as you see here, we're just running around the corner, and then we leave the business park in a second and head off towards the country lane. My colleague at the moment, who's my partner in crime here, Foxy, is filming the whole thing on my GoPro. Now, Foxy had just finished his workout, so he was a bit tired and has actually started to pull away from a bit as I get through the run. And I know my pace isn't as good as Foxy's because he's usually way faster than me, but I think he was a bit fatigued running with a GoPro in his hand, and I got some PFT induced adrenaline, so I did get away from him a little bit at one point. I didn't have much time for a proper warm-up or a stretch, as Foxy had all been waiting around for me, and I had to drive. I was going to drive and walk the running route in advance, so I'd know exactly where I was going beforehand. I didn't get a chance to do that, and that's a pretty major flaw, as you'll see in a minute. I'd planned for a 4-minute 45 pace, as that's what I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do during Hyrox, and that's if the wind's blowing in the right direction and it's downhill. And I must have been going a bit faster than that though, because at the halfway point I would have only been going for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So as you can see at the moment, we're about 1.5 minutes in, and I was aiming for the 4:45. So really, I should have been about sort of 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes 25, around there, sort of 2 minutes 20, to get to the halfway point. But quite a lot faster than that by the time I got here. So we're just running up the hill now, and as we reached the little crest, and it wasn't a flat route. Obviously on Strava I wasn't really looking, but there's a bit of an incline here, and there's a bit of a weird route, so we had to cross a little ford here, so you have to go over a little bridge. Now just on the right coming up here, you'll see a sign that says footpath, public footpath to the right hand side. I'm just going past it now. That's the halfway point, that's the 500 metre point. I thought it was later on in the run, and so I'm already doing more than my 500 metres here, or my overall 1 kilometre. The elevation changed here slightly as well. It started going a bit uphill, and this is where Foxy's getting his breath back. He's slowing down a bit here, but my pace here I was at a 2:08 for 500 metres, so I was on track for a 4:16 if I'd continued that pace throughout. So I was a lot faster than I should have been going, but everything felt good. I ran up this hill, around the corner and up the hill a bit further, and then eventually realised, wait a minute, I looked at my watch, and I got my watch set to Hyrox mode, which doesn't actually show me distance travelled. It only shows me pace and the time I'd been running for. And I glanced down and thought, wait a minute, I'm at over 3.5 minutes now, or 3 minutes 20 now, and that ain't right. I must have gone past too far. So at that point I turned around and started running back. So this is the point here now where I'm just coming back to what actually is the proper 500 metre split, and I think it's 4:17 when I just passed the sign on the left hand side, just here, the footpath, just there. So that was the 500 metre split. So I wasted 2 minutes and 9 seconds on a fool's errand walking up the road, and then I also had to slow down and stop and wait for the DPD van to go past. So I think I've crammed in enough of my excuses here so you can understand now why my eventual finish time in the run was, I think, 6 minutes 49. And so a lot of that was caused by me running far too far, and obviously a bit of an issue with the DPD van, and slow down for that. So after eventually finishing the run, just coming into the approach to the building right now, we then had to run into the building and then swap cameras. And so there's probably about a 5-second gap where we're changing cameras over. I then grabbed my drink, towel, gave Foxy a quick run through on the use of another camera, and obviously I'm a YouTuber, he's not, so I had to give him a quick run through on how to use a camera. The gym was extraordinarily busy for a Saturday as well, so as you can see, loads of people are out and about with all their gear out, so I hadn't been able to set up properly, so I walked over to my station, got myself ready, put my drink down and everything, and I'd actually lost over 39 seconds here just by running through for the camera and getting myself all ready. So that's another excuse laid out there. I'd rushed and not stretched my hamstring out as well, so I was losing bits of mobility every rep, and I was using the floor mat as a reference for the jump. These are 1 metre mats, so I was jumping slightly longer than the requisite 90 centimetres that Hyrox lay down for these. So I started the burpees at 7 minutes 30 and finished at 13:06 according to the video. So it took me 5 minutes and 36 seconds to complete the PFT burpees. Maintained a fairly consistent pace throughout. Can't really compare it to main Hyrox as you're doing the movements all in the same direction at Hyrox, and the momentum in PFT is changing direction each rep and waste your time and exercise. I ignored the old saying of prior preparation prevents poor performance, and then I had to go and check on my phone to see what the next workout was and wasted another 5 to 10 seconds. With the stationary lunges, there's not much to say really. Hurts your knees by the time you're halfway through, so you just need to keep grinding through them. So I started off the row really well. I enjoy a good row, and not sure what happened though. I started off with a 150 split pace and only dropped to 153 to 155 somewhere right near the end. But according to the timestamps at the end from Adobe Premiere, it took 4 minutes and 10 seconds, whereas it should have been sub 4 minutes, maybe around 350 altogether. I had to change the display initially as it was reading cals instead of meters, but that shouldn't have changed anything at all. So yeah, a bit odd there, but I reckon it should have been about a 350, not a 410.
Just close my eyes and think of you. When I'm sleeping with someone new, I can't help myself, I wanna give you. Still feel the way I feel when somebody calls you mine. Are you sleeping with someone new?
The 30 hand release press-ups were the next part of the workout, and this was the shortest part of the workout for me. Even for me, with someone with an elbow that only extends to 160 degrees on one side. I've also got really awful technique. My arms should be tight against my side, but it actually hurts for me to try and do it that way. So this is how I end up doing it. Even with all that, it only took 1 minute 34 seconds to finish this section, so it should be really fast for others. Okay, so on to the last exercise, the wall balls, and these used to be my worst exercise. I realised it all had to do with where I caught the ball. I used to catch it really down quite low, down by my sort of chest waist almost, and I'd try and catch it up high near my face, and I'd try and ride it down, catching it on the way as I go down, prevent any jarring, and this has definitely made the exercise easier for me. It still takes an age to complete, and I need to do bigger sets initially when I'm fresher, as I think I should be able to do a couple of sets of 20s first to eat into that 100 reps. And then that's a mindset positive to go forward to carry on with the rest of them. And then maybe finish the remainder in 10s with maybe a 15 or a 20 to finish up completely. With short rests between, and that's the big issue, is that it's so easy to drop that ball, walk around, wasting time as you don't really want to have to pick it back up again. Anyway, this time around the wall balls took me 6 minutes and 26 seconds. And if I compare that to the last Hyrox, it took me 7 minutes and 31 seconds. So I can definitely take away a positive from that, as I'm definitely faster and there's more to come yet. This is a bit where Foxy's asking if he can film vertically, which I agree to, and then didn't realise until I was actually editing now that that actually screws up the time code position as well, and I can't move it back down to the bottom, so apologies for that.
when I'm sleeping with someone new. I just close my eyes and think of you. When I'm sleeping with someone new, I can't help myself, I wanna get you. Still feel the way I
Well, that's PFT done, Hyrox PFT. Went all right. A few little minor hiccups. One was I ran too far, so I thought I'd worked out a route that was 500 meters there and back to a junction on a lane. That junction turned out to be a stream, so I ran straight past it all the way, probably about 0.2 of a K past it, and then I looked at my watch and thought, wait a minute, I've got my watch set so I can see distance, but I could see time, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm up to 3.5 minutes, and I must have reached the time to turn around by now, so I turned around and ran back. So I'll have to have a look on the Strava map in a minute and see how far I've run when I've finished uploading the workout. Burpees, couldn't mark it out, so I just basically used the floor tile, which is 1 meter to jump across. So I was doing 10 centimeters each jump a little bit further. Doesn't really make any difference, but got to make your excuses right about a workout. The wall balls went okay. I did, I think, an initial batch of 20 and then 10 through it from after that. I think actually I could have done maybe 15s or 20s. Wall balls are starting to definitely get easier for me, so definitely catching them higher up by my face makes a massive difference on my legs. Okay, so you've now seen the PFT. You can see I made a few issues along the way. Obviously, doing it for YouTube isn't the same as a whole team coming down and setting it all up for you. In a busy gym, lots going on, last minute sort of affair, things go wrong. And so it's funny for me and funny for you guys to watch. So the actual event, I think on my stopwatch, because I did a stopwatch recording of the whole workout as well, that came to about 29:50 something, or 52, 53, something like that, when I did the workout. When I actually edited it on my computer and put a timestamp on in the Adobe Premiere software I use to edit videos with, it came out as 29 minutes 43 seconds, so somewhere along the way we lost sort of 10 seconds on the editing. But as you can see, there were so many screw-ups along the way, so I lost over 2 minutes just in the run alone, because we ran about 1.5 kilometers instead of a kilometer, and then just various bits of disorganisation, last minute rushed affair, handing over cameras to Foxy, my colleague, all of those sort of things eventually added up to probably over 3 minutes worth of lost time. So if you're sort of in your 50s like me and you want to see a similar sort of time, then I did it in, I would say, about 27 minutes is what you'd be looking at. If you're thinking of doing a PFT, then don't follow my example. You can obviously get all the information on the workout from the Hyrox website or from this video. Get it all prepared well in advance, be there in advance, mobilise, get everything ready, and then follow it to the T. Or otherwise, just use the link down below in the description, find out where the nearest Hyrox PFT tour is, put your name down and go and do theirs, because theirs will obviously be well organised and well laid out. So should you do a PFT? 100%, yeah. I think especially if you've never done a Hyrox before, you've got your name down to do the next competition, for instance, it's a great way of baselining where your programming's been going, where your training's got to so far, and also if you've never done 100 wall balls, if you've never done the burpee broad jumps, it gives you an idea what they feel like, especially under fatigue, and that's a good thing to have in your mindset, in your memory, ready for when you actually do the event and think, you know, I can do this, I've done this before. So it's a great thing to do for that reason alone. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you did, please go down below and hit the like button. And while you're there, if you're not a subscriber, then please subscribe to get notifications of any new videos I bring out. And if you look down there, there's a playlist of Hyrox videos that I've done in the past. So if you are thinking about doing Hyrox and you're interested, watch all those videos and that'll give you a bit of an information ready for when you do it. See you in the next video.